So a while back, my mom came to visit me, and when she was here, she brought me a tablecloth that my uncle had given her to give to me, and I believe it's vintage or antique or something, and it's so beautiful. And I had seen some pictures going around Pinterest of some like really floaty cotton, very wispy, whimsical dresses going around Pinterest of like some Laura Ashley wedding dresses from the 90s. And I figured that this was the perfect opportunity to try and make my own version, but with a little bit of a different twist, because those dresses are all just like plain cotton, and this has like some really nice detail to it. So this is my version of a Laura Ashley wedding dress. To kick this project off, I strategically placed my pattern pieces on the tablecloth to maximize the floral pattern as much as I possibly could, and I am just using some bodice pattern pieces that I already had. Biggest thing is I just wanted to have a sweetheart neckline. Once the bodice was complete, I tackled the skirt, and for the skirt I am doing 3 layers. So the first layer will just be a lining layer. It's essentially just a giant rectangle. The one on top of that will be another simple plain layer, but it will have a ruffle on the bottom. And then the layer on top of that will be the actual tablecloth, and I'll be adding another ruffle to that as well. I can't believe this is all that was left. I got almost the exact right amount of fabric. Because the skirt is a simple gathered skirt, all I had to do was measure how long I wanted each piece to be and then cut a straight line, and then I'll use basting stitches later to gather the top to attach it to the bodice. When it was time to cut the top layer from the tablecloth, I did make that layer a little bit shorter to accommodate for the ruffle that I'll be adding later. I'm also cutting away the corners so that the front is rounded, but don't worry, I did save those little pieces and I will use them for something later. Too pretty to throw away. To make the ruffle that's actually going to be attached to that top tablecloth layer, I did round those corners as well, and then I turned over the edges to finish them, and then I used my machine to make a decorative stitch, which I've never done this before, and I learned while doing this to use your decorative stitches, you have to set your stitch length to 0, and then sew just like normal, and it will be nice and thick and visible. And as a final and very tedious step in this process, I then had to cut away all the excess fabric so you could actually see the scallops on the edges. This took an ungodly amount of time, but luckily I just put on some trash TV and knocked it out. Once the ruffle was scalloped and gathered, I then attached it to the bottom of that tablecloth layer. I did opt to hand sew it. I just didn't trust that my machine would actually get all the layers because there's just a lot going on. So I figured it was best just to hand sew. Finally, after all 3 of my skirt layers were complete, I could then attach all of them to my bodice. As a finishing touch, I wanted to do a big ruffle that would go around the top and around my arms as well. All the inspo pics I saw had big ruffles going around the top, so I wanted to do that as well. So to make this ruffle, I did use 4 pieces of fabric, so I wanted to stack 2 on top of each other to make the 2 sides. And I prepared them just the same way I did all of my other ruffles, turning over the edges to finish the edge. And then instead of gathering them on the side, I gathered them down the middle. Once both pieces were gathered and stacked, I again hand sewed them together to keep them in one unified shape. And once they were both complete, I could attach them to the dress. And as one final cherry on top, you know I had to do a bow, so I ended up following a hair bow tutorial on YouTube to make a fancy bow for this. Love the little blue detail, and of course I love anything frilly in bows, so this was just the best finishing touch. Okay, so this dress is finished. I am overall extremely happy with it. I think it turned out really, really, really cute. Couple mistakes that I did make is, so I wanted to wash this because the fabric, when I put it all together, was looking very, how do I, like very stiff, and like you could tell that it had not been laundered in any sort of way. So I decided to wash the dress, and I should have waited until after I washed it to put this big ruffle on, because now I can't get it pressed the way that I wanted to. So yeah, but it adds a little bit of a rusticness to it. It's not meant to be super fancy. Also, like, I didn't put boning in the top, which I'm pretty sure you can really clearly tell that, but I wanted it to be comfortable more than I want it to be like super duper duper structured. Something else I wish I would have done differently, I used a store-bought pattern for the top, and I wish that I would have just made my own pattern, because I don't know what's up with commercial patterns. Maybe y'all have the same issue. They never fit right. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like I'm not picking the right size, but I'll like look at the size chart, look at the finished garment measurements, pick out the size I need, make it, and it'll be 2 sizes too big. So I went through all the trouble of making this bodice, and then I had to basically take it apart to fit it again, which I was like, if I would have just used a pattern that I made, it would have fit perfectly. So that's my one little bit of advice. Overall, super thrilled with it. Hope y'all like it too. So I know I already did an outro for you guys, but I wanted to check in one more time before I end this video, because when I was editing, I realized that I did not check in with the camera really at all, and I did all voiceover for this particular video. Wanted to see how y'all feel about that. If you like the voiceover, if you prefer the check-ins periodically, if you want videos where I just don't talk at all and you just watch and see the process. I want to make videos that y'all actually like and want to watch, so let me know, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.